Hopefully this is going to be a quick one. First of all, I'm thinking about changing this habit, which is that I still look at Facebook and Instagram daily. And I don't spend excessive, I would say. I don't spend a lot of time, especially very little time on Facebook. Sometimes, say 15 minutes was like a long time, on a long stretch, and I don't do that every day on Facebook. On Instagram, a bit longer. I'll go throughout the day. I might even go up to an hour, a bit at a time throughout the day, right? And sometimes not that much, but still, that's quite a bit, right? And so something that I saw today was a post about a study they did. It was a study about this guy's intelligence and his memory recall was measured before he began this experiment and after. And the experiment was to completely take himself off all screen time. And for 7 weeks. And he restored his memory recall up to 99%, where it was only at 50. And I think these are percentiles. So he was at the 50th percentile, so very average for his memory recall. And then at the completion of the study, he was in the 99th percentile, which meant he could recall more than 99% of people could. And there was some other factor that was being measured where he also increased. And so, I mean, it's just one man stating his experience and stuff, but, you know, it just makes you think and wonder. And I got to agree that, like, when we're not using our minds and being in presence and just kind of being with ourselves, like, if we're checking out, like, you know, how often are you really inspired by what you're seeing when you're scrolling? But that aside, I still have access to Facebook, and so I have not used it for friendships or anything like that. I just have myself in a few groups, and like astrology group, and one of the groups is a local town group. And in that group, there's somebody who posts sort of like controversial stuff often. So you'll see, you know, sometimes in the comments he gets a little bit attacked, or he will even kind of, I don't know if he's necessarily attacking others, but definitely speaking up to disagree with others. And in general, there's like a political stance that puts down a whole other party and, you know, things like this. And it's like drama, right? But here's the thing. This is why it got my attention. Because the other day he posted something about vaccines causing autism. And someone who I know posted about how her son has autism and that it's not caused by vaccines. And then someone else posted a bunch of studies that were cited in the man's original post. And what she concluded from what she looked at in the studies that were cited was that even the cited studies that were supposedly supporting his point of view that vaccines cause autism, that there was no conclusive evidence in those studies that were cited. But there certainly was a call for more research. And so I was just thinking it was interesting because, you know, this person that I know disagreed with his post, and then he just added under her comment that he disagrees with her. And she was going by, She said she was going by her own, experience. And he didn't mention whether or not he was going by experience, but she mentioned that he wasn't, that he was just going by a meme or whatever. And so I just kind of took it in the other day, and I felt myself feeling protective of her. But, I refrained from adding anything because, what would I even say? And today, it's a totally separate post. That same guy posted a clip about a mutation that he claims happened due to a vaccine in his own son. So he was speaking from his own experience, and this person that I knew claimed that he wasn't. And so they both have their own personal experience, and they both have different perspective of what has caused the autism in their family member. And they both feel very strongly about it. So when he posted this, I was just, it was so obvious to me that they're just living in different realities. They have different beliefs, and so their reality is different. And I think that, like, it wouldn't do any good for me to explain that, right? Because that's something that people will just think, oh, you're just crazy. Because it would require people to take responsibility for their lives in a way that they may not be ready to do so. And they're certainly not going to want to do it just on my word. Any small amount of experimentation can prove to you that your beliefs and thoughts do create the reality that you're living in. And it's not the only contributing factor, though. Of course, we have the soul's influence, and we have a collective reality, that we generally adhere to. But our beliefs heavily influence what we experience in life. And I think it's something that needs to be integrated into our understanding so that, especially in places like online forums, we don't waste time being in arguments with people about what their experience is and whether they're wrong or right and how stupid they are for thinking what they think. It's like the reality that they're living corresponds to the beliefs they have, just like yours. And I think it's going to be a different world to live in when people do finally understand that, and it will be so helpful. Because, when we have these things happening where, people are just so strongly disagreeing with each other and making it a war, it's so sad because it just takes away our humanity, when honestly and truly, the perspective that each person is having is theirs to have. And they can widen their perspective, and they can expand their awareness, and they can include the idea that, first of all, my reality reflects my beliefs and your reality reflects your beliefs, but also I can change my beliefs to change my reality. These are concepts that will they are true, and they will change the world when people understand them. And I'm looking forward to that day. And until then, it's like, unless someone asks me, and my hands are really tied, but one thing I can do is just put out this little clip on information that I know to be true. And that is that, if you want to live a different life, change the beliefs that you're living by. If you feel limited by what you're experiencing in life, change your beliefs. And it's not that you won't experience any challenges or, won't have to grow and learn by doing so, because you also have what your soul intended for you to experience, here. So, but you can do a lot of the work that way. Not all of it, but a lot of it, right? Especially on these things that were programmed into us by society. And when I say programmed into us, that comes back to screen time, which I started out with on the topic of me considering doing a little fast or cleanse from screen time for a while. Not right now, and not from recording. But just because, we do get programmed by what we consume. Repetition is a way that we program, and any child under about the age of 7, their brain is in the theta phase, which is a phase of programming. So they're taking in their environment as a program of their operating system. So it is really important to be wary and cognizant and caring about what our children under the age of 7 are taking in from their environment. So, we can sync both sides of our brain in order to change a belief. We can move the energy in our brain and in our whole entire body through the meridians in order to change the belief. All we have to do is identify the belief, and we have to understand ourselves about it and understand what we needed to know about it, about having that belief and the perspective that we've gained through having it. And then we can change it when we line up with the information on how to do that, then we know that we're ready to do that, So not everyone's going to be there, and it's not up to us to tell them to be there. Like, I can't tell those people in the comments, like, you guys are in an unnecessary war because you're both right. Like, it doesn't matter what I say, like, that's the reality that they're living. But my observation of it just inspired me to share. So that's all I can do. All right. And do you have anything to add? What do you think?